small business owner accepting credit cards, it isn't just a convenience, it's a necessity. But let's be honest, credit card processing can be confusing and expensive if you don't understand how it works. Terms like interchange fees, merchant accounts, tiered pricing, dual pricing, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And that's where businesses often get overcharged. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how credit card processing works, what you're really paying for, and how to choose the right provider for your business step by step. Let's start with what happens when a customer swipes or taps their card. Here's the simplified flow on how it all works. So first of all, the card reader sends the payment request to your payment processor. The processor then contacts the card network like Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. The network contacts the customer's bank, also called the issuer or the issuing bank, and then the bank approves or declines the transaction. Now, if approved, funds are deposited into your merchant account, then into your bank account within 1 to 2 business days. So this entire process, it takes a few seconds, but multiple parties are involved, and every one of them takes a piece of the pie. And I would mention that the acquiring bank, who's basically taking all the risk, is the one that is getting the bigger piece of the pie. So if you look at your credit card and it says Wells Fargo, or it says Chase Bank, or it says Capital One, whatever it is, that's going to be the issuing bank is getting the majority of that cut of the pie. So when you accept a credit card, several entities take a cut, like I mentioned. So like the issuing bank takes the interchange fee, which is typically 1.5 to 2.5% per transaction. Then the card networks charge a network fee, which is a few cents per transaction. And then the payment processor has a markup, and that's their profit, how they make money. And then if you use a merchant account provider, they may charge a monthly or a statement fee on top of that. So the interchange and network fees are really non-negotiable. It doesn't matter who you go with, whatever provider. Those are set by Visa and MasterCard and the banks. Let's talk about the 4 main pricing models you'll come across as a small business owner. Okay, the first one, it's kind of old school, but it's called tier pricing. And the transactions are categorized into qualified, mid-qualified, non-qualified. And it sounds simple, but it does lack a little transparency. And oftentimes there's hidden fees in the tiered pricing structure. So very rarely I would use a tiered pricing structure, only if it made sense for a particular type of business. I can't even think of a scenario for it. But the other very popular one is called flat rate pricing. Okay, so this is going to be like your Squares, your Stripes, your PayPals. They're going to charge a flat rate. They're going to say, hey, 2.9% plus 30 cents a transaction, regardless of what the card type is. It's easy to understand. It's predictable fees. But it's really made for small startups that have very low volume, maybe doing a couple $1,000s a month in credit card processing, or very seasonal would be the situation that you would use these guys. But you think about it, if you had a small ticket and you were paying 30 cents on $5, that's quite a bit of money that you're paying. So you want to be careful with the flat rate pricing. And another thing to mention too, these types of providers like Square, Stripe, PayPal, you're borrowing their merchant account. So everything's batched together under one merchant account. And so it's not technically your merchant account, and it's more susceptible for shutdowns or frozen funds or things like that as well. Now, the third, this is probably one of the ones that I like a lot, and probably depending on your type of business, but it's the interchange-plus pricing. So what you do is you pay an actual interchange fee, and then there's a fixed markup, like maybe 0.5%. And so it's the most transparent and scalable model for any type of business that is probably processing more than $5,000 a month. And so what you'll want to do too is, if you're not processing that much, then you might want to look at maybe the monthly minimums that they might charge, because if you're not processing a certain dollar amount, then you could get hit with a monthly minimum. And then also there is PCI compliance fees, but you need to be compliant anyway. So as long as you're compliant, you're not going to have to worry about those fees. And if someone's charging those fees and you are compliant, then you need to look at a different processor. The other one I really like too is dual pricing. And it has other names like cash discount, non-cash adjustment. So what happens is you offer two prices, one for cash, one for credit or debit cards. And usually the price, obviously the cash price is lower. Now it could be ACH too. So if you're doing an online business, you're offering ACH or e-check. But the card price includes the processing fee. So let's just take an item that's for sale, $10. The cash price is $10. The card price is $10.30, and it covers the credit card fee. So these are great for business owners that are, especially small business owners that don't want to pay the credit card fee. And they work great for like food businesses. They work great for retail. And just so you know too, it is legal in all 50 states. So it's different than surcharging, and that's one we'll add on there too, a different pricing structure. But dual pricing, it does offer the ability to have the customer pay the merchant, basically the merchant processing fee. It's no different than what gas stations have been doing for decades, where they offer a cash price and a card price. So it's the same type of model, legal in all 50 states. So those that say, hey, that's not legal in my state. Yes, it is legal in your state. The ones that you're maybe referring to is, brings me to the fifth one, is surcharging. So surcharging is different than your dual pricing, because you're forcing your customer to pay the credit card fee. You're not accepting cash, and you're just forcing them, saying you have to pay this 3% fee. And so you just want to give your customer a better experience and offer the two prices, cash and card. So that's why I would prefer, depending on if you want to pay the fee or if you want to pass the fee along to your customer, I would look at the interchange-plus pricing structure, and then if you want to pay the fee yourself, and then dual pricing if you want to pass the fee along to your customer. So those are the 5 different ways to process credit cards. What is a merchant account? Maybe we should talk about this in the beginning, but I just want to kind of give you a kind of a side-by-side comparison of the different types of merchant accounts. There's really just 2 types. So a merchant account, though, is a special type of account that temporarily holds your credit card revenue before transferring it to your business bank account. And there's 2 main types of setups. Now, there's the traditional merchant account, and then there's the payment aggregator. So I like to call the traditional merchant account a real merchant account, because there's more control, lower fees long term. You have more ability to lower your fees, and it's often better for businesses that are processing $5,000 or more. Then there's the payment aggregator. Okay, the payment aggregator, I like to call it the big box processors, like your Squares, PayPals, Stripe, Quickbooks. They lump basically all these millions of businesses into one merchant account, and it makes it easy for them to set it up, and there's fewer controls. But here's what happens: is in a real merchant account, you underwrite it, meaning you know what the average ticket size is for that particular merchant, that particular business, maybe the monthly volume that you're processing, how strong are you credit-wise. And so it's a traditional merchant account, so it's solid. Once you get that merchant account, you just have so many more controls over that. Whereas a big box, they make it really easy to get a merchant account, and that's why a lot of people make the mistake to do that. And they get the merchant account, and then if you have any problems, or you are processing a ticket that's too high, or you're doing an industry that they don't like, it's more susceptible to getting shut down, frozen funds. And so I would prefer doing a traditional merchant account over one of these payment aggregators. Now, if you have a small little market and you're processing, on the weekends, and you're doing $500, then great. A Square or a PayPal is going to work great. And so here you go. Here's kind of the tip. So if you're doing less than 5,000 a month in sales, you probably want to use these big box payment aggregators, and it's usually fine. But if you're growing and processing $5,000 or more, and you need that kind of that customer support, you need a dedicated merchant account that's underwritten, then I would definitely go with a traditional merchant account, or what I like to call a real merchant account, because they're going to underwrite it, and you're going to get, also you're going to get the support that you need when you have questions. You're not going to get an email that says we'll contact you in 24 to 48 hours. That's what happens with these larger payment aggregators. So anyway, that is the two types of merchant accounts. Okay, choosing the right processor. So we're gonna kind of pivot, rather than giving like a specific name or a processor. The best thing to look at this is, do you want to go with a big box processor, or do you want to go with a consultant? Now, let's be real. Signing up for credit card processing online seems really easy, but it also it's where a lot of small businesses can go wrong. So, you click get started on Square or Stripe, and then all of a sudden you skip the fine print, and before you know it, you're overpaying in fees, and you've got zero idea who to call when something goes wrong. So this is a better approach. Work with a consultant. So what a merchant service consultant can do is they can review your business model, your monthly volume, and all the ins and outs of your particular business, the industry type, and then they can compare real world pricing options and look at the best pricing structure. Is it going to be better to do dual pricing or interchange plus, or have a flat rate? What's going to be the best for you? And then they'll all be able to explain what's negotiable, what's not, and they'll also make sure that that your POS system, which is a point of sale system, or your terminals, or your software, it all integrates smoothly, so they can look at all those details. And then they can also warn you about long-term contracts, early termination fees, hidden costs. So the tip of the day for merchant accounts is, find a good consultant that will work for you, because they work for you and not the actual processing company or the bank. So they can negotiate better rates for you, or bundle services that kind of fit your needs, instead of selling you some cookie cutter type solution. Um, and I would even mention that a lot of big banks, even though they will classify themselves as a real merchant account, they offer cookie cutter solutions because they have a contract with a certain provider. So these are the questions you can ask. You can ask before choosing a consultant. You can say, hey, do they represent multiple processors or just one? Can they explain their pricing structure in plain English? That is a must. Do they charge upfront or earn a commission based on the processor that you choose? So you just don't want to, it's kind of a warning here to not just jump online, sign up with Square or Stripe, and then it can become an issue if all of a sudden your phones get frozen, and it can be tempting for sure because it's super easy, but down the road it can be very costly, because I've seen it happen time and time again, where someone calls me up and says, hey, Stripe's holding my money, or Square's holding my money, or Quickbooks is holding my money. How do I get it? How do I get it released? And then it makes it really, really hard to unwind all that. So start with getting a consultant that will help you and step you through the process that's going to be best for your business. So kind of wrap things up here, some pitfalls to avoid. Definitely don't want to get locked into a long contract or have cancellation fees. You want to beware of hidden monthly or PCI compliance fees. You don't want to lease a terminal that's overpriced. I've seen this happen where someone says, hey, we'll sell you a terminal, and it's only $50 a month for 48 months. Well, do the math. That terminal maybe costs $400, and now you're paying 48 payments of $50. I've seen that happen, and shenanigans that are doing that should be put in jail. And then also a pitfall, the tiered pricing, like we talked about, the tiered pricing, they have vague categories. I wouldn't use that. And then also anybody that's very pushy, they're unclear, it's a big red flag for you. So, you know the system that you want to do by talking with the consultant, understand the pricing models, choose the right provider, avoid hidden fees, and credit card processing. It doesn't have to be hard. Just a little knowledge equals some big savings for you. And I've been doing this for 20 years. And so if you were to ask me some of these questions, I would be able to answer. I represent multiple banks, multiple processors, multiple industries, and I can help basically put my customer into the right solution for them. So obviously you don't have to go with me, but I am a consultant, and that's what I've done for 20 years. I've worked at big banks before, and I've seen how they work, and you just want to be careful. So we can shop around for you, find the best pricing structure, like we talked about. Go over it with your business. But there's definitely, you want to find a merchant consultant that can help you, and it's going to be honest with you. So anyway, also just to wrap up here, like this video if you've got some good information from it. Subscribe to my channel, and comment what's your biggest headache with credit card processing. I'd love to hear your stories. So thanks again for watching, and